Hey everyone, U.S. immigration lawyer Michael Ashoori here, and in today's video, I have some very important breaking news surrounding a new policy that was just unveiled by the Trump administration on Tuesday, February 25th, called the Trump Gold Card. Now, many of you may have already been hearing rumblings about this. It started making news immediately after it was unveiled. I'm going to talk about the Trump Gold Card. I'm going to be talking about EB-5. We're going to be getting into a lot of details and a lot of information in this video, so make sure to stick around. Hey everyone, so as I mentioned, on Tuesday, February 25th, President Trump was signing executive orders in the Oval Office, and the press was present. During this session before the media, he unveiled something that he called the Trump Gold Card. And then his Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, also started discussing aspects of this Trump Gold Card. Now, first and foremost, what is the Trump Gold Card? Based on the limited information that we have thus far, this is a proposal for a new route to get a green card based on making an investment. Now, you might be wondering, we already have something for that. It's called EB-5. Well, that's correct. But based on the limited rumblings that we're getting about the Trump Gold Card, it seems that this is going to be slightly different in various ways that we don't fully understand the details of yet. But one of the most important aspects of this Trump Gold Card is that the investment amount that they are floating is $5 million. The reason why this is so important is that under our existing investment-based green card option called the EB-5 green card, the investment amount can be as low as $800,000. So if this Trump Gold Card goes into effect, it would effectively raise the minimum investment amount to qualify for an investment-based green card from $800,000 to $5 million, which is an astronomical increase. Now, in addition to that, under the EB-5 investment-based green card, somebody can qualify for a green card based on making an investment. And while it cannot be guaranteed, in many cases, somebody will receive their investment funds back at some point with, in some cases, interest. But at this time, again, based on the limited details that we have regarding the Trump Gold Card program, it is not yet clear whether this is going to be an investment that is eligible to be returned to the investor at some point in the future, or whether it is a fee, whether it is a payment of some kind that the investor does not have a right to get back. The Trump Gold Card was originally discussed with the public on Tuesday, February 25th, and then on Wednesday, February 26th, there was the first official cabinet meeting. And in that cabinet meeting, there was even more detail regarding the Trump Gold Card. So what I want to do is I want to play some notable clips regarding these discussions. And as I play them, I want to share some insights with you or some thoughts that I have as I'm watching them with you, and we'll discuss in some more detail. So take a look at my screen and we'll jump right in.
It's going to do. We're going to be doing something else that's going to be very good. We're going to be selling a gold card. You have a green card. This is a gold card. We're going to be putting a price on that card of about $5 million, and that's going to give you green card privileges plus.
So immediately, something that I want to say here is, as you can see, President Trump is saying that they're going to be selling a gold card. This indicates to some extent, potentially, again, if we're reading into it a little bit, it seems like it's more of a payment of a fee in exchange for a green card rather than an investment that you can recoup at some point in the future.
It's going to be a route to citizenship, and wealthy people will be coming into our country by buying this card. They'll be wealthy, and they'll be successful, and they'll be spending a lot of money and paying a lot of taxes and employing a lot of people. And we think it's going to be extremely successful. It's never been done before or anything like this, but it's something that we're going to be putting out over the next, would you say 2 weeks out? Do you want to say a couple of words about it?
Sure.
Mr. President, are there
Wait a minute.
requirements for that gold
Hang on a
card?
second.
So just right there, as you can see, their plan is to release and unveil more detailed specifications on this gold card within 2 weeks.
Do you have to invest a certain amount of money in this country in order to qualify for that gold card?
Yeah, exactly.
So the EB-5 program was really, you lend some money, but it was full of nonsense, make-believe, and fraud, and it was a way to get a green card that was low priced. So the president said, rather than having this sort of ridiculous EB-5 program. We're going to end the EB-5 program. We're going to replace it with the Trump Gold Card, which is...
Okay, really quickly. So as you can see here in this clip, again, which was from the briefing on February 25th, so what the Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, is saying here, that the Trump Gold Card would be replacing the EB-5 program. And based on the way that he's talking about the EB-5 program, it seems that he's indicating that the EB-5 program would be canceled and replaced with a new program called the Trump Gold Card. Now, this is interesting because as you will see, again, this was from the press briefing on Tuesday the 25th, but in the cabinet meeting on Wednesday the 26th, the next day, the tune seems to be a little bit different. We're going to watch that clip shortly too, but I just want you to pay attention for that.
Really a green card gold, so they'll be able to pay $5 million to the U.S. government. They'll have to go through vetting, of course. We're going to make sure they're wonderful, world-class global citizens.
Again, paying $5 million to the U.S. government. That sounds to be more of a fee in exchange for a green card rather than an investment. And we don't know the details yet, but if we're just reading into the language here.
They can come to America, the president can give them a green card, and they can invest in America, and we can use that money to reduce our deficit. Why do we give out lotteries of green cards? Why do we give out EB-5 for green cards? The President of the United States understands that the right answer is, why don't we eliminate the deficit of the United States of America instead?
The gold card, well, millions, but the gold card will bring in with it people that create jobs, very high-level people. I think companies will pay to get people in. For instance, you today graduate from the Wharton School of Finance or Harvard or Stanford or any college, and nobody knows if you can even go to work for a company. So Apple and all these companies that want to get people to be working for them will be able to buy a card, and for the people that are number one in their class at top schools, I see that as one of the things. But generally speaking, it'll be people with money and people that create jobs, and they won't have to pay any tax on income outside of the United States, which they're not paying right now. They're not citizens, but they'll have to pay if they create jobs in the United States. They'll pay full taxes like everybody else. So you're getting big taxpayers, big job producers, and we'll be able to sell maybe 1 million of these cards, maybe more than that. And if you add up the numbers, they're pretty good. As an example, 1 million cards would be worth $5 trillion. $5 trillion.
Wow.
And if you sell 10 million of the cards, that's a total of $50 trillion. Well, we have 35 trillion in debt. That'd be nice. So we'll see. But it could be great. Maybe it will be fantastic. We have it all worked out from the legal standpoint. It's totally legal to do. Hasn't been done before. It's been done in many different forms. We give them away. Why should we give them away? We shouldn't give them away. And I think it's something very exciting. I think it's potentially just something that we're all very excited about. So it's a gold card. It's somewhat like a green card, but at a higher level of sophistication.
So one thing that I want to highlight here is that President Trump is indicating that this Trump Gold Card would assist in reducing the national debt. And that, to me, also is a further indication that this would be more like a fee of some kind rather than an investment. It just seems, again, if we're reading into it, that if this payment is going to reduce the national debt, that it's not going to be returned to the investor, quote unquote. Another important thing here is that the president is mentioning different figures of whether it's 1 million people that avail this Trump Gold Card or these large numbers of potential people that would be investing in this program or availing this program. Just given the number of applicants for EB-5, it's going to be very interesting to see to what extent there is interest in this program with the much higher threshold to qualify.
It's a road to citizenship for people, and essentially people of wealth or people of great talent, where people of wealth pay for those people of talent to get in, meaning companies will pay for people to get in and to have long-term status in the country. And I think it's something we're very, very happy about. Would you have anything to say about that?
Well, many other countries, by the way, do this, including, of course, your 51st state does that.
And the money's earmarked for deficit reduction?
It may be earmarked for deficit, but it actually could be more money than that. I mean, if you did 10 million, you'd have $15 trillion left over. But generally, it's going to be paid down debt, yes.
Do you need Congress for this? Do you think you need
No, we don't need Congress, no. Because we're not doing citizenship, we're doing the card.
This is another very interesting point, and I believe that this program is going to face major legal backlash. I think that there's going to be a number of lawsuits filed to seek to halt this and to prevent it from going into effect. I see this facing tremendous legal hurdles. I also can imagine that there will be many prominent voices indicating that such major changes would require an act of Congress. So it's going to be very interesting over these coming days and weeks as this program unfolds and as more details are released to find out specifically what is proposed and what takes place from a legal standpoint.
It's a path to citizenship, a very strong path to citizenship, but we're not doing the citizenship. For that, I'd have to get Congress.
And would all countries be eligible for this gold card?
Depends. The countries largely, the people will be vetted very carefully.
So I want to move on now to the next clip, which was taken from Wednesday, February 26th, in the cabinet meeting, where the Trump gold card is discussed again.
Follow on that, Mr. President, about the Trump gold card idea that you unveiled yesterday.
I hope you liked it.
I have way more information, but the question is, does this reflect a view on your part that the American immigration system has never been properly monetized as you feel it should be?
Well, not so much monetized. It hasn't been properly run. I get calls from, as an example, companies where they want to hire the number one student at a school. A person comes from India, China, Japan, lots of different places, and they go to Harvard, the Wharton School of Finance, they go to Yale, they go to all great schools, and they graduate number one in their class, and they're made job offers, but the offer is immediately rescinded because you have no idea whether or not that person can stay in the country. I want to be able to have that person stay in the country. These companies can go and buy a gold card, and they can use it as a matter of recruitment. At the same time, the company...
Okay, this is a very interesting thing. Right here, President Trump, again, coming from the cabinet meeting, Wednesday, February 26th, President Trump is talking about how companies can use the gold card as a method of recruitment. So if we're speculating, just certain thoughts that come about, certain things that I'm wondering is, if somebody makes a $5 million investment to avail and obtain one of these Trump gold cards, does it provide them with easier access of recruiting foreign workers? Or does this investor that is obtaining a Trump gold card have to go through the normal protocols of sponsoring foreign workers for green cards through methods like the PERM process, through EB2 and EB3? Or is there going to be a special way that people that apply for a gold card can bring foreign workers to the United States easier? That's going to be something very interesting to keep an eye on. All of this is so speculative, but again, just based on what President Trump just said there.
Company is using that money to pay down debt. We're going to pay down a lot of debt with that. And I think the gold card is going to be used by not only for that. I mean, it'll be used by companies. I mean, I could see Apple. I've spoken with Tim Cook, and by the way, he's going to make a $500 billion investment in the country only because of the results of the election. And I think because of tariffs. He's going to want to be in the country because of tariffs. Because if you're in the country, there is no tariff. If you're out of the country, you got to pay tariffs. And that's going to be a great investment, I think, that he's making. I know it's going to be a great investment. But we have to be able to get people in the country, and we want people that are productive people. And I will tell you, the people that can pay $5 million, they're going to create jobs. They're going to spend a lot of money on jobs. They're going to have to pay taxes on that, too. So they're going to be hiring people. They're going to be bringing people in and companies in. And I don't know, maybe it will sell like crazy. I happen to think it's going to sell like crazy. It's a bargain. But we'll know fairly soon. I think Howard and Scott, a few of you really are responsible for it. But Howard, if you want to discuss that for a couple of minutes, I think I'd like to have you. I think it's going to be a very successful program. This is commerce.
So the EB5 program, which has been around for many years, had investment of $1 million into projects in America. And those projects were often suspect, they didn't really work out, there wasn't any oversight of it. And so for $1 million investment, you got a visa and then you came into the country and ended up with a green card. So it was poorly overseen, poorly executed. Then you had our border open where millions of people came through. So the idea is we will have a proper business. We will modify the EB-5 agreement. Christy and I are working on it together.
Okay, so in the press session yesterday, it seemed to be a replacement, like a new method of immigration where somebody would apply for a Trump gold card and it was something distinct from EB-5. It seemed like EB-5 would be canceled. But right here, it seems like the EB-5 visa is being tweaked based on Howard Lutnick's statement right there. It seems to be like a reworking of the existing EB-5 program.
For $5 million, they'll get a license from the Department of Commerce. Then they'll make a proper investment on the EB-5, right? And we think Scott and I will design the EB-5 investment model because Scott and I are the best people together to do that. So this is joint. This is exactly the Trump administration. We all work together. We work it out to be the best. And if we sell, just remember, 200,000. There's a line for EB-5 of 250,000 right now. 200,000 of these gold green cards is $1 trillion to pay down our debt. And that's why the president is doing it, because we are going to balance this budget and we are going to pay off the debt under President Trump.
And to qualify, do you have to promise and make commitments to create a certain number of jobs here in the U.S.?
No, because not all these people are going to be job builders. There'll be successful people, or there'll be people that were hired.
This is another very important comment here, because under the EB-5 program, somebody has to invest currently, under the current rules, they have to invest a minimum of $800,000 or $1,050,000, depending on whether the investment is made in a targeted employment area. And that's a topic for another video, but basically under the current rules of EB-5, somebody needs to make an investment with a minimum amount of at least $800,000, and they need to eventually create 10 full-time jobs for U.S. workers. And right here, President Trump just said that this Trump Gold Card doesn't necessarily require the creation of jobs. So another very interesting thing when you're thinking about, is this going to be a new version of EB-5, or is this going to be its own distinct new immigration vehicle? A lot of questions yet to be answered.
From colleges, like sort of like paying an athlete a bonus. Apple or one of the companies will go out and they'll spend they'll buy 5 of them and they're going to get 5 people. Look, I've had the complaint from a lot of companies where they go out to hire people and they can't hire them out of colleges. And you know what they do? They go back to India or they go back to the country where they came and they open up a company and they become billionaires. And they're employing thousands and there are a lot of examples. There are some really big examples where they were forced out of the country. They graduated top in their class at a great school, and they weren't able to stay. This is all the time you hear it. And the biggest complaint I get from companies, other than over-regulation, which we took care of, but we're going to have to take care of it here because a lot of that was put back on by Biden. But the biggest complaint is the fact that they can't have any longevity with people. This way they have pretty much unlimited longevity. Also with the 5 million, that's a path to citizenship. So that's going to be...
So interestingly here, President Trump is talking about, again, how this Trump Gold Card or this revised EB-5 program can be used by companies to essentially sponsor workers. So at this time, it's unclear whether this means that the company is going to have additional benefits to be able to sponsor foreign workers more easily, or whether it means that these companies can essentially issue payments of $5 million to be able to get these gold cards, these immigration benefits on behalf of their respective workers, their prospective employees, again, by essentially issuing a payment of some kind for one of these gold cards on behalf of one of their employees. So another interesting thing to be on the lookout for and to monitor.
It's sort of a green card plus, and it's a path to citizenship. We're going to call it the gold card. And I think it's going to be very treasured. I think it's going to do very well. And we're going to start selling, hopefully, in about 2 weeks. Now, just so you understand, if we sell 1 million, right, 1 million, that's $5 trillion. 5 trillion. Howard was using a different number, but that's $5 trillion. If we sell 10 million, which is possible, 10 million highly productive people coming in, or people that we're going to make productive, they'll be young, but they're talented, like a talented athlete. That's $50 trillion. That means our debt is totally paid off, and we have $15 trillion above that. And now I don't know that we're going to sell that many. Maybe we won't sell many at all, but I think we're going to sell a lot, because I think there really is a thirst. No other country can do this, because people don't want to go to other countries. They want to come here. Everybody wants to come here, especially since November 5th.
Mr. President, how would you
They'll all be vetted, by the way. All these people will be vetted, okay? To be vetted.
Okay, everybody. So thank you for sticking with me while we watched those videos. As you can see here, there's a lot that is left to be determined. As of the media session where President Trump was signing those executive orders, it was made clear that more details would be revealed within 2 weeks. So we can expect to get more information about this program within the next 2 weeks. But just a couple of things we're still awaiting answers to are whether this is going to be its own distinct immigration program separate from EB-5, or if this is going to be a modified version of the EB-5 program. We want to know whether this is going to be an investment of some kind, where somebody that's making this investment has the potential to recoup the investment at some later date, similar to what the EB-5 program currently is like, or whether this is going to be a fee that has to be paid where there is no possibility of receiving those funds back. That's another highly important aspect of this program to be on the lookout for. Another point is whether this Trump Gold Card is going to require the creation of jobs. As you saw in that second video, President Trump seemed to indicate that job creation would not be required. And that's going to be another very important thing to be on the lookout for. Another important point is going to be to see whether if somebody makes one of these $5 million payments or $5 million investments, is that going to provide immigration benefits solely for themselves and their family members, like their spouse and their unmarried children under 21 years old? Or will somebody, by making this payment of $5 million, will they have the ability to bring on foreign workers to join their company? And if they do have that ability to bring on foreign workers, will it be a new process by which they can bring those foreign workers faster? How many foreign workers potentially could they bring? Or through this program, does the individual, this person that's making this $5 million payment, do they have to make separate $5 million payments for each individual worker that they want to bring in under this program? That's another thing to be on the lookout for. Another question that we want to have the answer to is how much demand would there be for this modified or new program at a $5 million price point? Again, at the $800,000 price point that is currently in effect under the current version of the EB-5 program, it's unclear how much this increase to $5 million will have a chilling effect on people's interest pursuing an investment-based green card under one of these programs. It seems like it would have quite a chilling effect given the steep increase in price. We're talking about an increase of well over 500% to go from $800,000 up to $5 million. Another important point that we want to watch out for is to what extent there will be legal challenges to any changes to the EB-5 program and how successful those legal challenges will be. Will there be legal challenges that argue that an act of Congress would be needed to make such significant changes? Will there be an injunction preventing any changes from going into effect? And what is going to happen for current EB-5 investors, people that are either in the process of filing an EB-5 petition, people that have already filed an EB-5 petition that is pending, people that are on a conditional green card through the EB-5 program? And what I mean by that is through the EB-5 program, you first get a 2-year conditional green card. Before that 2-year green card expires, you then file a petition to remove the condition from your green card. So what happens to people that have a 2-year green card? Are they going to be in position to still be able to remove the condition from their green card based on the investment that they already made, in many cases, years earlier? And what about people that already have filed a petition to remove the condition from their green card but that petition is still pending. Are they still going to be eligible to get their unconditional green card? So there is a lot of very important information that is not yet known. And that's why it's going to be so important to monitor over the coming days to see what the actual language is of this new program and any details that we can get our hands on, because again, this seems to have very massive implications on EB-5 and on investment-based immigration in general. And lastly, I want to leave us with one more question that is important to think about. Under our current immigration laws, we have something called an E-2 visa, which is an investor visa where somebody can get a non-immigrant visa, basically a temporary visa based on making an investment and operating their own business. With E-2 visas, somebody can qualify in many cases for an investment of $100,000 or potentially even less than that. The immigration regulations don't specify a minimum investment amount for E-2. The regulations indicate that the investment must be substantial. So now what we're wondering is if there could be such radical changes proposed for EB-5, what does that mean for the potential of E-2? Are there any changes coming to the E-2 program to require higher investment amounts? At this time, we don't have any indication of that, but that's going to be another important thing to keep our eyes on, because if EB-5 has been targeted in this way, there's a question as to whether such a change could be initiated under E-2. So that's another important thing to look out for. So I know that in this video, I provided you with a lot of information. We went through those videos and I've brought up a bunch of questions that we don't yet have answers to, but it's going to be very important to be on the lookout for these developments. So I hope you got some value here. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. If you're not yet a subscriber, make sure to smash that subscribe button so that you can be in the loop with all the videos that we're posting. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you on the next video.